Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rep, I said it earlier, and it wasn't geared towards you. But what I said was back in 79 and 80, when I was out there, it was already happening. So now we're here, 2016. Representative Williams' bill is trying to address what happened back in the 70s and 80s. And since these good folks are here, we need to deal with it. And I'm putting words in her mouth. We need to deal with what's here now. So you're telling me that Rep. Williams' bill is not some sort of a compromise to an answer that should have been solved well over 30 years ago?
What I'm telling you is that I look at it from the perspective of fairness. I look at all of us individuals in this room as equals, okay? I feel as if I'm responsible to do something and I go through a certain process of sacrifice of time and finances, you, Representative, are responsible for the same. That's fairness. And that's what I'm sitting here testifying to, is that if I'm responsible to do something 5 years ago, let's say, go through a lengthy citizenship process, and you follow suit 5 years later, and you don't have to do what I have done, that's not fair. It's not fair to me, and it's not fair to any of the individuals who had to do it. And that's what I'm telling you.
And Rep, you're right. I'm agreeing with you. I too believe in fairness, but I'm going to repeat myself that this happened back in the 70s and 80s when I was out there. I'm saying that the issue is here now. Now. And the way I look at it, Rep. Williams is trying to come up with an answer now. And I can't stop what happened years ago. I got to work on what's going on today. And that's what she's trying to do, I believe.
If we're looking at it from a perspective of today and the individuals who are currently here and want a license, instead of stepping forward to apply for a license, maybe they should step forward like the individuals prior to them and go through the citizenship process properly, and that will build the bridge of fairness is what I'm speaking of. I'm not saying any of these individuals who are here have to leave. I'm saying if they are currently here, that the process of obtaining this license, which is in this bill, I've read it, let's worry about that as a plan B, the license. The plan A would be to do what every individual prior to them is done. And that's fairness. So it's not so much as a compromise, it's looking at it from the perspective of, just as you said, it's happened down the road before. Well, we're here now and we need to address it in an appropriate manner. And I always look at it, just like I said, we're all sitting here as individuals. I look at us as all equals. We go through a process. You go through that door. If we walk through this door and I walk through this door, we walk through the same door, okay? That's fair. And that's what I'm asking for the consideration for it to be looked at that way.
I think I won't do verbal table tennis with you, my brother. I get it. But I surely think, I see all these signs behind me, those are pro and against. But you look at the pros, some of them are already working with that fairness. But I understand. Thank you.
I appreciate your conversation and debate back and forth.
We'll figure it out.
We will figure it out.
Any further questions for Representative Natalillo? Representative McEntee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Natalillo, in Representative Williams' commentary, she referred to the cost of becoming a legal citizen. Do you have any idea how much that cost would be?
Actually, we did look into it. It's is it approximately it's about $600, and the process is approximately 5 months to a year, depending on how the obtaining of the application process does go. But the process is about $600.
I'm seeing a lot of head shaking here, and I've heard from different people that it's more expensive than that, but I really don't know. I just thought I'd ask.
If it is more expensive than that, it brings me back to the same point as what I had spoken about before, is fairness. If one individual had to pay, let's use the figure of $600, and that was 5 years ago or before this bill might pass, how is that fair to the individuals who did the process properly in expectation to now? It's not fair, and it's not fair. And it brings me to the other point, back to the safety aspect, because we're talking expenditures and cost of things. Insurance is extremely expensive. Mine is expensive. There are several insurances that have all kinds of ways about them, depending on what kind of car you have, lease and everything like that. If the insurance does lapse, that safety becomes an issue. So these are concerns. Those are my two main concerns. It's the safety of the whole purpose of this is if we're offering licenses to individuals, we'll just look at it like that. They're supposed to be, and I don't want to say supposed to be, but the expectation is offering this to them will make the roads safer because they will have to have insurance. They will be familiar with a proper protocol on the roads and such. My thing goes back to the main purpose is if you do get in an accident, and there are many fender benders, accidental fender benders. If you don't have insurance, that brings us back to where we are square one again. But now you have a license, and it's not consistent to what I'm talking about. So the expenditure and the process of fairness, those are the two things that I'm mainly concerned with.
Thank you. Representative Agello.
Thank you, Chairman Keeble. Representative Nautilillo, I want to address this issue of insurance straight on. I called my insurance agent this afternoon and said, this is Edith Agello, I'm your client, but now I'm calling as a state representative. If I were an unlicensed driver, but my car was insured, and I were in an accident and injured somebody and damaged somebody's car, would my nationwide insurance cover me? And he said, well, I can't really be sure, but I would guess that the insurance company is going to deny any claims because you were driving without a license. So I can purchase insurance for my car. For many years, my mother owned a car, but she never drove. She never had a license. She insured her car, but that insurance would have been no good if she was driving it. Other people drove her in her car, and they had driver's licenses. So this individual who very much wants to get a license has a car and insures their car is right now at a disadvantage. Our law is that the insurance requirement is not quite tied right now to driver's license. It's tied to car registration.
Correct.
So, as I see it, this legislation allowing driver's licenses will make us all safer. And I think you're confusing the issue when you talk about insurance. We're all at risk if anyone doesn't pay their insurance bill.
Correct. We're all at risk. That's
People are
correct.
any more likely not to pay their bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.